sunny now? Oh my God, that rain was homophobic. So I'm just gonna, also have my paper up here. I'm not the best as far as, improvising. So I like structure. I'm a Virgo, so. So I want to begin. As already emphasized for centuries by Indigenous and Black Americans in this country, this is a decolonial reminder that we are on stolen land, and some of us are stolen bodies forced upon this land. In addition to this reminder, I want to say Happy Pride, y'all. I hope everyone's having an amazing time and experiencing an incredible amount of love and care from around you. I myself am fasting today because it's still Ramadan, our Muslim holy month. And a lot of folk still believe that practicing a religion or faith and being LGBTQ+ are two mutually exclusive identities, that we contradict each other and cannot exist in the same body. And there's a lot of reason to believe that, considering the impacts of colonialism, the erasure of LGBTQ+ spiritual leaders and healers in our histories, and also the interpretations of mainstream holy texts being shifted to more conservative interpretations because of the ancient cisgender heterosexual men who's been in power for the past few years. There's a lot that has been taken from us, and even religious people who we love have used religions of love against us in our identities. But among all of the hardships and trauma that we've experienced in these communities, there are LGBTQ+ people of faith like me who still exist. We continue to be here, and we have every right to exist in the ways that we do. We shouldn't be forced to pick between the two, as we are often pressured by the queer community and our religious community. I say this because not only is reclaiming religion and spirituality a huge part of my life as a queer Black person, but throughout this process of reclamation, I've come to realize how even acknowledging our religious trauma and holding our perpetrators accountable, at the very least, hope and motivation to persevere is something that we should all have access to. There's something so beautiful about queer and trans people having hope and faith, whether their faith is put into secular science, nature, astrology, organized religion, or faith put into themselves and chosen families that they build. It's powerful the way that we let the universe and our love, people's love for us, just carry us, guide us, and take us and give us light, There is something so beautiful about that. There are some people also who like to believe with their whole hearts that America is just now going into shambles. They say that ever since that little ugly Cheeto became president, America has suddenly become bad. Racism has increased, xenophobia has increased, homophobia and transphobia has, when really, that's not the case, right? Like Black and Indigenous people and people of color in general, we've been fighting this forever. These oppressive systems have always existed in this country. And since day one, we've been screaming at the rest of the world to take notice and help us dismantle these systems, right? And as emergent strategy author and fellow Detroiter Adrienne Marie Brown says, things are not getting worse, they are getting uncovered. We must hold each other tight and continue to pull back the veil. And I love this quote because it reminds me of what my godfather instilled in me. The wise statement that we owe it to our ancestors to be historically accurate, to not only be bold in our truths, but carry their truth with us because they are connected. We owe them everything. We owe it to address their trauma because the same trauma literally is running through our veins and it becomes a part of us. To deny what happened to our ancestors or anyone else's is to simply not be genuine. And I want to add to that statement that not only do we owe it to our ancestors whose shoulders we stand on, but we also owe it to those who are coming after us, regardless of whether they're direct descendants like our children, our neighbors' children, or even total strangers. We come from traditions of resistance, people who fought for better futures. We are in a nation founded upon white supremacist violence and values, and Black folk, Indigenous folk, and other people of color have been resisting since day one, and that has never stopped. The entire reason we have pride in the first place is because of Black and brown trans women and genderqueer femmes fighting against state-sanctioned violence as well. And this being ingrained in our lineage as people is something that is not to be taken lightly. We are custodians of the planet, whether we like it or not, and part of our jobs is to clean up whatever it is that poisons it. that stunts growth. And yes, that means literally caring for our environment, the soil, the climate, but also inherently includes violent oppressive systems like anti-blackness, ableism, transphobia or trans-antagonism, misogynoir or misogyny directed specifically towards black women, homophobia, biphobia, etc. In order for us to thrive as a community, we have to acknowledge that there are many of us not only facing violence from the outside community, non-LGBTQ plus people, but also facing violence within our own communities right here. Let this be a reminder to check your fucking friends when they're fetishizing people of color, thinking and saying they have an inner black woman inside their white gay body. Call out your people when they use ableist language. A reminder to support sex workers and take action against FESTA and SOSTA bills that threaten their ability to work and survive. A reminder to support and include our intersex siblings. A reminder to not only engage with femmes, especially femmes of color, when you fucking need something from us, but to actually show us love and support. A reminder that disabled and low-income folk been saying forever that accessibility is not a preferred option, it's mandatory. A reminder to stand against Israel and the nation's pinkwashing, using the LGBT community as a marketing tool to make the world seem as if they're actually not leading a genocide against Palestinians and taking their land, which they are. A reminder to stand against, to fight against anti-Semitism and Islamophobia and be inclusive of spiritual LGBTQ plus folk in our spaces. A reminder to pay and censor black trans women and trans feminine folk because they deserve the fucking world. I also want to explicitly remind folks that cops do not belong at any pride events, just like they don't belong at any school, they don't belong at any women's march or any other place, to be honest with you. When we're talking about pride, how it is a place that should be safe to exist in and express ourselves in, that means that everybody should feel safe enough to do that, not just white LGBTQ plus people. If black and indigenous people and other people of color don't feel safe to be at Pride because we see the same people militarized across the country, deporting us, detaining us, killing us here too, then that means that it's not a safe Pride event. It's a fucking parade for white, queer, and trans people. And we deserve better than that. And hear these reminders, but also take action upon them. As one of my favorite people ever, Tori Walters, who interned at the EMU LGBT Resource Center this past school year and just graduated, said, there is a difference between addressing an issue and actually unpacking it. It takes work. There will always be something else to fight for in our communities, and I know that sometimes it can become very tiring, especially the more marginalized that you are. But we are here, together. And the more together we are, the more we are able to trust in each other as we organize, hold and affirm each other, while also holding each other accountable. Tap into our individual powers and strengths and recognize how we all play a part in larger outcomes. The stronger we will become and the freer we will become. Pride is a reminder for that. Pride is a reminder that we can celebrate ourselves and process at the same damn time. Our victories are worth honoring, and so are the people who are still being left behind in our work. When we talk about pride, really examine what that means for you and how we can encompass and maintain the energy of the traditions of resistance that we come from. Lastly, so when Muslims greet each other during Ramadan, we like to say Ramadan Mubarak. Have a great or blessed Ramadan. So I'm gonna just leave y'all with Ramadan Mubarak and Pride Mubarak. If you'd like to keep up with my work, feel free to approach me afterwards or follow me at Controversial Tape to connect with me further. Have a beautiful evening and a powerful, wholesome Pride Month. Y'all deserve the world.